good evening, or good afternoon. I am Supreme Grand Sheik, Dr. Crowell Bay, of Temple Alhambra, of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And today, this message is for the Grand Sheiks, Grand Governors, members, would-be members, and those who are just seeking the light. There are some things that I'm going to reveal to you today in order that you might know truth from falsehood. Today, there are many who hold themselves out as grand sheiks, and they are nothing more than grand shysters. These particular individuals, they mislead their congregations into worshiping the prophet. Worshiping the prophet. And I'll tell you why they worship the prophet. They worship the prophet because to them it means profit, P-R-O-F-I-T. Too many of these grand shysters are fleecing their congregations. It takes millions and billions of dollars to float a government. You are not going to get millions and billions of dollars by picking the pockets of your 7 or 8 congregants. It's never going to happen. As the Supreme Grand Sheik of the Prophet's Moorish Science Temple of America, I have already funded this government to the tune of $1.2 trillion. I will demonstrate those degrees to you in later videos. However, for you grand shysters who worship the prophet while you're pimping him, justice will catch you. I know quite a few of these so-called grand sheiks. They're grand shysters. That's all they are. And I'll tell you how they became that way. Some of them. Some of them came straight out from behind the walls. Some came straight out of prison. And just like Christian Negroes do, when you can't find a straight job, you start pimping the Christian God. Well, the same thing has occurred here with the Prophet's Moorish Science Temple of America. These grand shysters are pimping the prophet, knowing they are never going to get the kind of money that it takes to float a government from 6 or 7 people by picking their pockets twice a week. That's never going to happen. It'll never amount to the kind of money that it takes to float a government. Now, for those of you who are feeling some kind of way about what I said, you must know I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. How dare you pimp the prophet? And because you don't know Moorish science, you grand shysters, you can't teach your people about their divine science, and it's a part of their birthright. What colossal gall you have. You faker, you fraud, you degenerate. And you do this in the name of the prophet, under the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Well, we at Temple Alhambra, we have begun another path for the prophet's organization. And since I own it now, yes, you heard me correctly, I own it. I own the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, there is a truth affidavit on record in the 10-10-5905. I challenge anybody to dispute it, since all you grand shysters want to do is argue about where the home office is. You're worrying about a home office. Well, I fixed that for you. Temple Alhambra is the Moorish Science Temple of America. So there, now that that is solved, you pimps and worshipers of the prophet, you don't know science. You don't know any of your ancestral science. And because you can't get a straight job, you pimp the prophet. Well, you're not going to pimp this movement. I've got it now. And just so that you know, beginning on January 8th, in the year 134, that would be 2020, in the Christian era, the doors of the prophet's temple will be closed for 3 years for entry to membership. The doors will not open for another 3 years. And those who are actually seeking the light, you have 3 years to demonstrate through your words, works, and deeds that you are worthy enough to come through the prophet's doors. When the prophet was on the scene, he threw his doors open and his loving arms wide open, and every kind of vermin and venom spewing viper entered in to his temple. And they tore it to pieces. Let me explain something to you Moors. When a government is destroyed by its enemies, it can be rebuilt. When that government is destroyed from within, it is gone forever. And because of grand shysters like yourselves and those who came before you, you have completely and utterly destroyed the prophet's temple. Well, I've got it now. It is now under Temple Alhambra, here in Mecca. I will not recognize anyone who holds his or herself out as a sheik, and yet you demonstrate no sheik degrees. You're a fraud. And chances are you went to one of the few grand shysters for a particular amount of money. Oh, they'll take you through chambers whether you are adept in anything or not. Because all they want is the money. They're pimping the prophet. At Temple Alhambra, we honor the prophet. We honor him through our words, works, and deeds. We do not speak in cliches like a lot of these Moors do, and all they do is parrot the Circle 7 and quote from the 101. They know no science, and if you do, make me know it. Because you are not a Moorish scientist. You're a Moorish fraud. The prophet said to call you a dirty Moor. In Vietnam, that is the language that the Vietnamese use to describe their fellow countrymen who worked for Ho Chi Minh. You would always hear them say, he dirty VC. He dirty VC. They never called each other niggas, motherfuckers, and all these other things. They simply use the term dirty. So I will use it for you, you dirty Moors. What colossal gall you have. You're robbing people. You are teaching them nothing about themselves or the people they come from. Those of you who are looking for the light, Temple Alhambra is accessible to anyone with a telephone. We meet on Friday evenings at 7 p.m. Central Time. Sunday school is held at 12 o'clock on Sunday, Central Time. And this is the number whereby those who are actually seeking the light can come and join us at Temple Alhambra. The number is 712-432-3900. The access code number is 237829 #. That will get you into the call. Now, I will share this with you Moors as well. You know those people you call white people? You ignoramuses. You don't even know that you are the white people. But those you call white people, they are not quite white yet. They are amalgamated Moors. That's right. You heard me correctly. They are amalgamated Moors. Because what you grand shysters don't know and don't teach your congregants is their real story and their science. Their real story and their science. You don't teach them because you don't know it. You are a fraud. And if you are not teaching your people who they are, then you're in violation of Act 6. You are a fraud. Worshiping the prophet is not going to get you any closer to being a white man. Because you are a lying fraud who only wants to profit from the prophet. And you don't have the guts to let your congregation know that we can learn together. You won't do that because you want to be the big I. You want to know everything and you know nothing. And for those who think they do, because I'll share this with you. You see, I already know I ain't nobody, and I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. I am nobody. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy here on this plane like you. My experiences have been different, but just like you, I have to walk through all the ways of earth life. So I've had many experiences. And you grand shysters and grand governors who don't correct the grand shysters, you're equally as culpable because you're not doing your job. And you're not doing your job because you're loyal to a damn man, not the prophet, not his words, and not the movement. You're loyal to a fraud. That's all he is a fraud. Since I came back home to Chicago, I held a meeting with the grand sheiks, grand governors here in Chicago and in Indiana. And I told them what was going to occur here. Well, it was then that I learned that not only do some of the Moors here detest knowledge, and they really truly do. I know one Moor in particular who absolutely detests knowledge. So much so that now the Moor only speaks to me out of politeness. Now, mind you, Mind you, this Moor, he worships the prophet because he doesn't know any Moorish science. I have watched his congregation turn over 3 times. No one who is there today was there 7 years ago. But he doesn't care. As long as he can keep stuff in his pockets, he could care less about the movement, the prophet, or anything having to do with uplifting fallen humanity. And so, brothers and sisters, for those of you, because I'm through with the grand shysters and grand collaborators, because that's what the governors are. They're collaborators. They endorse foolishness and nonsense, and that makes you just as culpable. That is why I took the movement out of your hands. It is on the record. And what you Moors ought to know, if you don't, when an affidavit of truth is on the record, if that affidavit is not rebutted point by point within 30 days of recordation, you Moors want to finish that for me? That's right. It stands as law. And no one has disputed or rebutted anything in that affidavit. Therefore, I am the owner. Temple Alhambra is the owner of the Prophet's Moorish Science Temple of America. I need you to understand that. So there shall be no more arguing about who is who and who is not. I will share with you my bona fides. I am a grand sheik who was made here in Mecca. I was made right here, which is the only place who can make adepts. You all need to understand that. You cannot be made in New York. You cannot be made in Baltimore. You cannot be made in Washington. And you damn sure can't be made anywhere in the South, because there are no righteous and true prophets' temples in the South. He never established any there. And any temples that hold themselves out as Moorish science temples of America, if you're in the South, you are out of order and you are out of law. You've got no business existing there. And whatever grand shyster gave you one of those fake warrants of authority, as well as that charter, that grand shyster was out of law and out of order. Because you see how you all conveniently pimp this movement to serve your own purposes. You all want money. And despite what the prophet told you when he came back from visiting his home, which is the home of the Ouachita, when he came back here to Chicago, he told those Moors, if you have people in the South, get them out. But this is what you dirty Moors do. You're real quick to say, the prophet said that he had charters for every state in the United States. Yeah, Yeah, he said that. He said that before he took his trip home, because when he came back with a warning. And at no time did the prophet ever authorize any temples in the South. This includes Baltimore, which is below the Mason-Dixon line. The Grand Sheiks, or so-called Grand Sheiks of Baltimore, are frauds. And if you were made here in Mecca, then you should have stayed. Because you can't go to Baltimore and open up a temple. It is out of law. The prophet never established a temple in the South anywhere. And this includes Baltimore. Now, if you Baltimore Moors want to be in law, I would suggest you move a little further north and a little further west to be in law, because Baltimore is not a sanctioned city for the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I know I've been in a couple temples there in Baltimore, and neither of them were on the prophet's business. One truly was all about profit. One truly was all about profit and lining the Grand Sheik's pocket. I saw this. I saw it again here in Chicago. So I know who's out there. And you're all frauds. You have no science to teach your people. You have no knowledge to expand upon. And all you do is take people's money. You are pimping the prophet. Justice will catch you, I assure you. But for others of you, the brothers and sisters, I will tell you now